Hello, this is JP with Photography by Parmalee, and this is a tutorial on how to add clouds to pictures using Photoshop Creative Cloud or Photoshop Elements 13 and above. So here are two images, both the after and before, and you can see the before picture, while very pleasant in its look, you can see that the after we've added a lot more drama by adding some clouds not only to the sky but cloud reflection in the water as well. Now we're sitting here in Creative Cloud, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do this in Elements. It's virtually the same. You save a few steps in Creative Cloud, but I wanted to make sure we took the lowest common denominator when doing this. So we have our primary image here and the cloud image. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click on the cloud image and grab the layer, and we're going to drag it over and drop it right on top of the image. I'm going to go ahead and close the cloud image just to free up some desk space. And we're going to back out here a little bit and hit Control T on the cloud layer so that we can resize the cloud layer. And just dragging and bringing this up here to make it a little smaller. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start it here at the top, and we're going to come down just to where the sky disappears, right? Bingo, right there. Now we can adjust left or right depending on how we want those clouds to fit in, but we'll go ahead and just set it there. Go ahead and click the green arrow and you'll be all set. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. Now over here in the layers side, we're going to go ahead and make sure that our cloud layer is selected, and we're going to change the blending mode for this to screen. Okay. If you don't necessarily like that, you can come down and select some other ones just to kind of see what fits best. I think for this one the overlay is going to work best. Now what you can see is you can see the clouds have overlaid everything that we've set it on top of. So what we're going to do is up here at the top there's a little icon here that says Add Layer Mask. Make sure we're on the cloud layer. We're going to click Layer Mask, and it's going to open up this little white window over here. Make sure you click on that white open box. Coming back over here to your tools, we're going to make sure that we have black selected. We're going to select the pencil tool, and we're going to go ahead and turn our opacity of this tool up to 100. And we're going to bring a brush size up here, and it'll vary on every different picture. But what we're going to do is we're going to paint black over where we want to remove the clouds, over the faces, over the trees, over the water to begin with. Anywhere we paint black is going to remove the clouds that we've overlaid on top of that, right? So we're just going to come over here, and you can see the clouds starting to disappear on the faces, across the hair. This doesn't have to be perfect. What we want to do is just get the majority of it. Don't worry about getting too close to the edge. We'll come back with a smaller brush in just a second to get that. Okay, and you can see I've accidentally gone up into the clouds. That's okay. We can fix that. So we're going to zoom in here on the groom's hair. We're going to make our brush just a little smaller so we can get it a little tighter. And I'm going to start to turn the opacity down a little bit to make it a little softer edge, so we don't have quite a hard edge as we get that. And anything that we go too far on, we'll be able to come back and fix here at the very end. And so let's come over here and get his ear. And you can see that as we zoom in here a little tighter, we've taken out a little too much. So if you've gone into the sky and taken some of the sky out, just switch to white, and we're going to paint white back onto that layer mask. Maybe we want this brush to be a little smaller to get in here a little tighter. And you can see I'm adding the sky back. So anywhere we paint black, we remove that layer. Anywhere we paint white, we're adding it back in. Come back over here. I think we lost some right in there. Maybe that brush is just a little too big just to do that. Now we're going to switch back to black because there's still some orange here in his hair from the cloud picture. And we'll just slowly kind of come through here, right? Then we'll come back over to here where I took out way too much sky, and we're going to paint white because we want that sky to come back. I'm going to make the brush just a little bigger here to do it a little faster. What I have found is that this doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but we definitely want to soften the line so that we don't have a very hard line, and just change the opacity down so that the hardness of that line starts to go away. Okay. We could probably spend more time here fixing that line, but for the sake of the demo, we won't do that. And so at this point, we've added a pretty dramatic sky to the picture, which originally looked like that. Okay. Now, to add a little more drama, what we're going to do is we're going to add a reflection of this sky into the water. So all I'm going to do is, on top of the cloud layer, I'm going to right click, duplicate the layer. We'll call it water. And you can see it's added right on top of it. It's actually added it so it's doubled up from its color and whatnot. I'm going to hit Control T, which is going to give me a box around it. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it down and I'm going to flip it. Okay. I'm going to make sure we cover the water. Now you can arrange this up and down to where it looks best. I'm going to click OK. Now you can see here that we've got the same layer mask has been flipped as well. So what we're going to do is just going to click on the layer mask on the water layer. I'm going to right click and I'm going to delete the layer mask. And we're going to add a new layer mask. Click here, we're going to go to black, just like we did before. I'm going to turn the opacity all the way up, get a good sized brush, and we're going to delete everywhere where we don't want the water reflection on our subjects. Again, we're painting black to remove the layer at that place. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect here on the first thing because we'll get in closer with a smaller brush. Go ahead and zoom in here. So you can spend a lot of time in this section, but I'm finding that as long as you're softening the edges here and not making really hard cuts at the edges, things tend to look pretty good. Alright, let's switch to white because we took out a little too much in this area right here. We'll just add that back. And the brush is too big for that small area, so we'll just make it a little smaller. Come in here and add that back. Go back to black because we've got a little bit here on the veil. Zoom back out here. We got a little right there. Now, one of the things that I just saw is that we moved the water down too far. We missed the water right here, right? So if we decide to bring that water up a little bit, you can see our layer mask moves with it. So that's okay though. We'll go ahead and just move that back up so we have all the water. We're going to go back to clicking on the layer mask. And we'll go to white. We're going to add this back in. Where it needs to be on the water. We'll go to black to make sure we can get it off of the body. White to add it back in. Okay. I'm just going to back up here and see if we see anything that's glaringly missing. And you can see here these lines aren't perfect. You can continue to soften the lines up by changing the opacities. You can keep getting in tighter and tighter. Maybe soften that up just a little bit more. Here we go. Now, here we're also going to make sure that that is an overlay. Blend mode. It copied over when we copied it. But we're going to turn the opacity down on the water because it won't be quite as bright because of the reflection. So you can get it to wherever you want it, where it's 100%, or you can bring it down a little bit. Now, one of the things I'd like to do is I'd really like the oranges in the sky to pop. So I'm going to go back here and click on our sky layer. And up top here, we're going to create a new adjustment layer, and we're going to create a hue saturation layer. Now, before we make any changes, in between the adjustment layer that was just added and the sky layer, I'm going to hit the Alt key. I'm going to bring my mouse right in between the two, and you're going to get this little double circle icon. I'm going to click right there, right? And it tags that adjustment layer just to the sky level versus trying to change the hue and saturation of the entire picture. I'm also going to come up here to channel, I'm going to select reds. I'm just going to turn the saturation of the reds up and just watch the sky. The sky's going to orange up a little bit. I might make it a little darker, might make it a little brighter. Really kind of play with it till you can get it to where you know what you're looking for. Okay, and there we have it. So we've gone from a picture that had a very nice background to something that has a lot more drama in the picture. You can do these exact same things in Creative Cloud. You can save a couple steps. That makes it a little faster, but the theory behind it is the same. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you very much.